On today's show, we're going to make these great little nesting rope bowls, and it's really quick and easy. So like I said, today we're making these great little nesting bowls from Mountain Thread Company. They come in this kit just like you see here, and inside you will find 15 yards of the rope that you need to make this, as well as a heavy-duty sewing machine needle. So you're going to want to swap this out and put it on your machine. I've already done that and have that ready to go. And then the lengths of rope that you need, as well as all of the instructions, are available on the inside when you open it up, and it gives you all of the little diagrams and details on how to go about making this project. It's really, really fast, but basically the three sizes that you're looking for are your small, medium, and large. The small, you need 3 yards of your rope. The medium, which is what we're going to make today, you need 5 yards, and the large, you need 7 yards. And I also opted to use some contrasting thread just to make it kind of fun and pop, and I thought it would look good on set once I finish these up. And so I've used this kind of gray-green color, it's called Old Sage, as well as this blue, which is called Rock Blue, and then the one I'm making today is mauve. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. So you can see here I have taken my length of rope and I've just started coiling it around itself. You want to go about 3 or 4 times, and I just put a little pin off to the side. And so now that I have this all pinned together, we are going to zigzag stitch the entire time on our machine, and I currently have this set to a 2 stitch length and a 7 on the width. And so we are going to sew kind of a plus sign, and so I'm going to sew right on the other side of my needle, or my pin I should say, so that it's not in the way when I'm stitching, but it still holds this in place and makes it easier for me to stitch over this. And so I'm just going to do this first zigzag straight across here. So let me just set this under my machine, and we are just going to zigzag across. There we go. Pull this out of here, and I can trim that thread. And this side as well. And so now that I have that first line of stitching in place, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my pin because it's already secured, and I'm going to make a plus sign. So in my next line of stitching, I'm going to go perpendicular to that first one. There we go. Trim that as well. And so let me show you here. Oops. Get this out from under the machine, how this is looking. So you can see we just have a row of the zigzags going each way. And so now that we've done that, we've made this plus, we're going to go back and add an X going in the opposite directions, just so this base and our start is really nice and secure. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We are going to go right this way. You just want to trim off those threads as you go, otherwise they can get a little unruly. And then now we'll pull this back around and we'll do our last line of stitching to get this started. All right, there we go. So now our base is all secured. I've trimmed off my thread, and now we are ready to start spooling this around. Before we do this, in the pattern, they recommend that you change your stitch length up to a 4. So I'm moving it from a 2 to a 4. And I'm leaving the width at 7. And so then now I'm going to set this right here. I'm going to lift my needle, and they do recommend that you just check as you get started that when you have your zig and your zag that it's going to catch both sides of the rope. So as these are coiling together, one side is going to be on the inner one and one will be on the outer one. And we'll get a close-up of that for you to see, but let's go ahead and get started. There we go, and we're just gonna take our time and slowly pivot, especially once you begin here and it's smaller around. You just have to kind of go very slowly. All right, so I'm just going to continue working around, and as this gets a little bit larger, it gets easier to make sure that you're catching both sides of the rope. And so I'm just going to keep pivoting. And for this medium bowl that I'm working on, it recommends a 4-inch base. And so I'm just going to keep circling around now until I have this about 4 inches wide, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so now that we have our flat base about 4 inches apart, or across, I should say, now we're going to start adding the curve to our basket. And all you need to do for that is put your hand underneath the flat part that we have, and we're just going to use this little bit of lift to add the angle that we need. And then we're going to continue in the exact same way. So I'm just going to use my hand here to guide and keep stitching with my zigzag. Just take your time. If you need to stop and reposition, just keep your needle down. There we go. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I have about 6 inches left, and then I'll meet you back here and show you how to finish this off. All right, we are coming up on just about 6 inches or a little bit more left here. And so now typically you would want to do all of the next steps that I'm going to show you under the machine, but I want to make sure you guys can see. So I am going to back stitch here a few stitches, and I actually am going to take this out from under the machine to show you. So just keep in mind, this is not the normal procedure. You would do this under the machine. And so now we're going to tie a little knot in the end of our rope, just like so. And then I'm going to loop this back, but I've got a little bit too much of a tail. So I just want to have a tiny bit of tail that I can tuck under, just like so. And so I want to leave this cute little handle that you can see. And now we're just going to finish off zigzagging, and we're going to tuck this all under the machine and secure this. And then when I get to the end here, I'm actually going to narrow my stitch length again and really zigzag over that to hold it in place. So let's go ahead and put this back under the machine and do that. And because I'm starting over, I am going to back stitch at my start again, just because I don't want that thread to come undone. So we'll do a few stitches forward, and then we'll back stitch again. And then now we can get this ready and finish it off. I'm just going to make sure this is all tucked neatly in here. Make sure my rope is under the machine, the presser foot. All right. And now I'm going to back stitch. Okay. can trim that. I have one little part here where I feel like I need to add one more row of stitches just because I didn't fully catch it. So I'm going to come back and add just a little bit of stitches to hold that in place, but you can see how quickly this bowl comes together. So let's go ahead and just finish this off just to secure the top. Here we go, back stitching of course. There we go. So now I can trim off my thread and my little medium bowl is all done. Isn't that so cute? You can see how these three sizes nest together so quickly and easy. Remember, this is 3 yards, 5 yards, and 7 yards. I did want to point out that on this one I followed the directions for the stitch length exactly, and so you'll notice it's a bit of a looser zigzag, but I tested and did a tighter zigzag on these, which just gives you a little bit more color from that accent thread that you're using, and so you can achieve those different looks based on your stitch length and the color of thread that you choose. There's also some great tips in the pattern for wrapping fabric scraps around it to add some just fun and pizzazz to the project. So I think you guys will really enjoy this, and I hope you have fun making these for gifts or for yourself, and I'll see you next time on At Home. Hey everyone, it's Misty. Thanks for watching At Home. If you aren't already a part of our Missouri Star family, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you want a notification every time we release a new video. I'll see you next Monday on the newest episode of At Home.